Hello everyone. In this video, I honestly want to talk about this one interesting topic. And this interesting topic I would like to talk about would be the comparison of two characters from two different universes or two different universes that are similar. And that's My Hero Academia, Todoroki, Shoto Todoroki, and the comparison to Xmen universe with this one character named Oya. And honestly, if y'all want to look her up for honestly more information and also just to see if I'm telling the truth and being legit about her full name, if I had to spell it, would be Oya. Oya. But yes, Oya, and why I want to compare this character named Oya from the Xmen universe to honestly the character of Shoto Todoroki in My Hero Academia is because of the fact that, well, what they both represent, slash, also how they are in as two characters. I essentially don't know Oya's personality 100% per se. I know her personality in some ways when researching her here and there. All I can say about her would be just, well, one, as an X-Men slash student of Charles institution one way or the other, or you know, being like a student of any past individual of Charles's other pupils, because remember y'all, Charles was not always per se there 100% as the principal and founder of his own school. There were times where other individuals stepped up and actually took over the reins and took over to being other leaders or leader figurative heads. And I give you a list of people that I can think of right off the back or back of my hand of who took reins as leader slash principal, if I have to say that, or just someone who took leadership and become the bigger teacher of the school one way or the other. If I had to give a list, it would probably be one. Well, Scott. There has been times where, aside from Scott being 100% a leader of his own group, or yeah, mainly his own group or crew of X-Men here and there on missions. There's also the fact of there was a time where honestly he was the head person of the Xavier Institute along with Emma Frost, which is a second person if you had to count that as well too. Especially if I had to reference one other storyline like the House of M. The House of M, honestly, around that time, yeah, both Scott and Emma was running things of the institution. Charles was either MIA or slowly trying to come back to the institution. And honestly, I was woke to his appearance around the time when World Breaker Hulk got introduced back to Earth, because remember, World Breaker Hulk as another storyline. World Breaker was in his own world, but then Hulk got so pissed he found his way back to Earth because of his ship that got exploded from the Illuminati. He wanted revenge on Illuminati, and remember now, like Illuminati is essentially all the people who are the most smartest people in the world. Charles was hypothetically one of them, or had a chair there, at least until Hank stepped in and actually took over his chair, essentially. But he never was 100% a chairperson there, or not always been in the meetings all the time, always like that. But aside from that, yeah, that's the whole history of Charleston, and honestly, the school itself. Other head individuals who took over would most likely be Magneto, if I had to name another example. Another one would be honestly Kitty Pryde because Storm actually was a leader. She actually been a leader, I think about like once or twice or so, maybe arguably even a few times because she's a strong individual and a strong sister to actually hold down a fort, whether it be holding down her own crew while honestly on missions or as a leader or either just being someone that's very seasoned and strong while at the same time compassionate over her students and other pupils of the Xavier Institute, which is why honestly in a way she is like 100% fit and suitable to be another head leader of the Xavier Institute, or was the leader at Xavier Institute before she actually passed it down to Kitty Pryde, which happened in one other story in a sense when looking up stuff in of history through like the X-Men universe. I feel like Wolverine technically counts as well too in a sense. I'm not going to sit here and say 100% that he per se like was bold enough to take over the whole school because remember this is Wolverine. Wolverine. I'm not saying that he's a terrible teacher or a terrible leader per se, but I feel like he's more of a like loose cannon like leader in a sense, and on top of that, a mentor figure versus someone who honestly wants the responsibility of always looking over pupils. There might have been a chance to where he was a headmaster one way or the other because of like I don't know circumstances. But aside from that, it's not like he stayed there for a long period of time like other people that I named off the list of people off the back of my hand. And then there's also Jean Grey. Jean Grey is also another example to where she became like head mistress slash headmaster of the school as well too, and own her own school. And that's also well either thanks to Wolverine or thanks to Scott in a way. Mostly Wolverine because there was that one storyline like called Schism, and around that time there was honestly Scott's and Emma Frost's school, and then there was Jean Grey school as well too in a sense, whether it be title or Jean being head mistress or whatever, or her name just being there on school. But aside from all that, I'm going. My bad for yammering about like the whole X-Men history. I wanted to like talk about honestly the main points of Shoto Todoroki and Oya as students of their own like respected schools and respected universes. As we all know, Todoroki's abilities is icy hot, basically ice powers with fire powers put together. And honestly is very unique and is very strong, especially over the fact of when you learn in the My Hero Academia verse how like creating or having a child like that is immensely a blessing in some or in many ways because in that universe they call that a quirk marriage, which basically when two parents of having their own types of abilities basically love each other and they you know basically get together and do their thing and one way or the other procreate and have a child. If the child most likely has both parents' like abilities in their body together, then that's a blessing in its own way in a sense. Because by the end of the day, a quirk marriage is highly possible, but at the same time, it's kind of rare in a sense. My Hero Academia verse kind of explain that as a whole. But yeah, that's his powers. Oya's powers, if I had to talk about her, and I'm going to also talk about more about her, like I guess background personality wise, would be just one. She's a sister. I'm just going to say that one she a sister, and I'm not saying that as an ability. I'm saying that when it comes to her background of ethnicity. First of all, Oya is 100% a sister. She's black, but aside from that, yeah, like one, she's black, and two, her abilities slash like power set is very much the same or similar as Todoroki's abilities. And honestly, that's very astounding to me and unique to me, especially when honestly, and I'm going to bring this up again later on, but when you look closely into who was like created first, it's very astounding as to how you have a sister like this be this strong or this potentially powerful and be this unique because her again her power slash moveset are very similar to Shoto's. I can't per se like say or remember which sides is which, but essentially her power set is basically same or similar, as in she can manipulate fire and also manipulate like ice as well too. The only difference is it's just the fact of Oya's ability is more of like controlling, I guess what's the word, thermal energy or thermal like weather around her in a sense, similar to Storm's ability of creating like different weather phenomenons, but the only big difference is hers is more towards just thermal or just, basically her being a like a thermometer or just basically her powers being more of like a thermal based like power set. Just like Shoto, the only difference is one side or just one, yeah, mainly one side of her, she can basically cool her surroundings or cool things around her to a low like temperature, very low temperatures. And then there's also the other side to where she can heat things up and make things warmer if she really chooses to and wants to. But there's also a catch. She has to have like some type of thermal like energy or thermal like feel around her in order for her to manipulate her power. But aside from that, again, it's very similar or the same as Shoto's abilities. Now, why I bring her up is again, she's a sister. She a sister. On top of that, she has the same or similar power set just as much as Shoto's. The only difference is well again, sister, and two is also, well, honestly, small details in power slash abilities and how she does her abilities and manipulate her abilities versus Shoto's. Aside from that, if I had to talk about her appearance, her hair is very normal. It's black and it's normal, and plus it's very poofy and very natural, kind of like 100% like any other normal like sister or any type of sister or blurred. But aside from that, it's also, if I had to bring up more on her personality and background, just she's similar to any other X-Men like student or pupil. Her thing would be just the fact that she's honestly just similar to any other pupil, as in one, her powers came out of nowhere, or just her being a mutant altogether, and two, she just wants to find people similar as her in the sense, or have the same like common ground as her as to being a mutant, and also being someone who has the X gene and powers at the same time. That's why she ended up in the X Men Institute. And if I had to back up my words on this, it was around the time when, again, if I had to bring up X Men, like history a little bit, she was debuted around pretty close. Well, she was debuted around, long story short, around the time when Schism was pretty close to coming. And honestly, she said one unique statement to Wolverine that it's honest. She wanted to go to the Xavier Institute to learn about herself and also get more understanding and become more at peace. But the thing is, Yeah, the Xavier Institute is still a good institute, and she doesn't downplay it anyway, but she still also talks about the fact of Xavier Institute is kind of like similar to the Brotherhood in a way because they can be like materialistic, not materialistic in things, but I mean like more of like military base, like there's more military based or like basically trying to have like young bloods go out in a legit battlefield and fight wars that they don't need to be fighting in, etc. And she points that out strongly. And Wolverine sat there and just honestly shook his head hard because in a way he felt like he failed. In a way he felt like he failed because again, this is me bringing back my whole thing when talking about like the history of like the X Men universe of the Xavier Institute. That yes, Wolverine, one or the other, was either a headmaster or I can 100% pridefully say that Wolverine is always 100% a good mentor or teacher, like individual towards all mutant like pupils and students in the Xavier Institute. That's why he shook his head hard because he felt like he failed to be a good teacher because it's like no, he always believed no like young blood should be able to get out there and go into a war that they shouldn't be fighting and whatever, and they shouldn't be like always doing wars and etc. So yeah, that's when honestly schism was slowly becoming a thing, and honestly that was around the time when Scott and Wolverine just honestly didn't see eye to eye when it comes to trying to teaching students and or also trying to not only teach the students correctly, but also trying to liberate and find freedom within mutant kind as well too. Because long story short, we are talking about the X-Men universe, which is basically always civil rights and always mutants always fighting against humans for freedom and for them to just leave them alone altogether and not always like cause havoc or be racist towards them in any way, shape, or form. And also, if I had to say anything else, what was the disagreement between Wolverine and Scott? It would be just the fact that honestly, Scott saw things more on a Magneto type of like spectrum, while Wolverine was more towards Charles wouldn't want this, and he always saw and respected Charles a lot because back in the day, Charles was in a sense his mentor many ways than one, and he respected him in a sense many ways than one. Aside from that, if I had to talk about more about Oya, long story short, she's more of a chill like person, and again, she's basically a mutant just like any other mutant people in the Xavier Institute. Basically, someone who was kind of lost, got powers out of nowhere, and trying to understand herself, understand like more of her powers and be at peace with them as well too in a good way, and just be more proud of them and be more proud of being a mutant. Many ways than one. But aside from that, yeah, those are two things that I like. Those are the main topics or main like top like subjects I like to talk about when it comes to this topic altogether. Between pointing out differences between Show Todoroki and Oya. I guess if I had to say any other last comment, it would be just I guess give her like a shot slash research her or look her up on Google or something. Because long story short, again, this is a black slash this is like a black sister like hero slash individual who honestly has powers before Show Todoroki showed up from My Hero Academia slash an anime. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love and will always respect my anime. If anything, that's a part of my geek genes. But aside from that, I just give him more credit as credit is due, especially in these recent times now where we as black people even made like terminology like blurred become a thing now in this present time. Because I feel like what blurred was essentially like started or created around like 2018 or 1750, maybe even earlier, because we always had blurred con here and there. That and also like Afro, basically Afro events as well too. But yeah, that's honestly my whole video about it. Oh yeah, and also one other last statement that I'd like to talk about when it comes to like proof of why I say Oya was first before Shoto. And I will also bring up like this other statement about me saying this statement. Why what's my proof of Oya being first before Shoto would be just the fact that she was honestly Oya was dropped in the comics of X-Men around 2014. My Hero Academia, actually no, it was like 2010. I take that back. Yeah, it was around 2010. I'm mixing up dates, but yeah, Oya was dropped around 2010 or so, and My Hero Academia manga wasn't even created until 2014 or so, and then got bigger as time progressed. So again, that's my proof in the pudding right there. But if I had to say anything else about the topic, I wouldn't say one character is better than the other. I'm just pointing things out because I feel like, again, us as Blerds, we honestly repping Shoto strong and hard, many ways in one. There may be like layers, and there also may be reasons why we love the character, but at the same time, I just pointing like information like this out because, again, not all black characters from known sources like the X-Men always have to be like had to be like Storm. I mean, I feel like honestly, if I had to put more like emphasis on this argument, it'd be just if I had to name like most black X-Men characters or mutant characters that we Blerds like bring up, it would be Bishop. Let me see. Maybe Bishop, Polaris, Magneto, to also Storm, to yeah, mainly just them as black characters. I strongly somewhat don't think that there were people who attempted to be like an X-Men like representation of Darwin to honestly a representation towards any other black based X-Men. I mean, there's also Spike from X-Men Evolution, but again, I don't know. It's just all mainstream. My argument is just the fact of not all black characters have to be mainstream or whatever. Like if we took the time to actually look into like I don't know comic like information like this or comic like character information, we could probably learn more on what other characters we can rep and respect more and etc. Especially before any other character. We can still give props and respect to our other characters in different ways, but still, again, this is just us. I feel like this is just me pointing out that we should honestly be more like prideful, more towards like characters that's 100% black. X Men as a whole is always 100% black because of their representation and what they stand for. But at the same time, there are way more 100% black characters, not only in representation from the X-Men, but also, man, I dare say, ethnicity in some ways, or I guess like cultural background. Yeah, actually, that's a better term for me saying it. Cultural background. Honestly, there's black characters in there. Now, the only reason why I say black cultural background versus ethnicity is because, long story short, if you're a mutant and you're in the Marvel universe, long story short, yeah, you're black. I'm not going to say you're 100% black, but you're a majority or mostly 100% black because by the end of the day, you're going to deal with crap with honestly the media to other people hating you to also just a whole bunch of racist hate crimes and other stuff, and a whole lot of things can happen to you, just like how us black people struggled all 24/7 as well too. Have you ever heard, let me ask y'all this, people, have y'all ever heard of the other story, man man love I mean nah God loves but man kills? That drives in more of my point of, honestly, if you're mutant, yeah, you're 100% black. I mean, you're not 100% black like culturally, but you're 100% black ethnicity, because by the end of the day, other people will always see you as dangerous or just see you as not trusting. Just like how certain people like saw us black people a certain way as well too, like that, and just always put us in oppression and always struggle, make us struggle, just like how Xmen struggle and mutants struggle. Heck, that's why Krakoa was created, and essentially, just like how honestly, in this new like comic story, like X-Men with Fantastic Four, when Ben Grimm made like one reference to Genosha, why do you think Genosha was created? Whether it be Magneto or it be other mutants altogether, Genosha was created just to try to make like a fair way for mutants to thrive or strive and just actually live in peace in their own way, in a sense, in one place, whether it be militaristic or whether it be just honestly living in peace in one way, but still it was kind of like a mistake one way or the other. But please leave a like if you like this video. Please leave comments of your thoughts about this topic. And please subscribe if you like this video and enjoy it, and enjoy other videos as well too. Thank you and bye.